In many rooms I found myself talking but not being heard. It felt like speaking into a void. Faces would turn blank, eyes would drift away, and responses were often just grunts. Communication is supposed to be a two-way street, but mine was a dead end. It became a pattern at work meetings and family gatherings. I would start sharing my ideas, and slowly the room's energy shifted away from me. No one seemed engaged. I began questioning myself. Was it my voice, my delivery, or was it simply that my words lacked impact? This problem wasn't just about words, it was about connection. Without being heard, I felt isolated, despite being surrounded by people. It was akin to being in a crowded room but living in a bubble. This silence wasn't just external, it seeped into my confidence. I began speaking less, contributing less, and slowly fading into the background. It was a frustrating cycle that seemed impossible to break. The frustration built over time. Imagine trying to catch a ball, but every time it's thrown, your hands are tied. That's what speaking felt like. I wanted to scream, but even then, would anyone hear? My ideas, thoughts, and contributions felt insignificant. Emotionally, it was draining. Each attempt to communicate felt like climbing a mountain only to find no view at the top. The effort was there, but the reward was missing. And with each failure, doubt crept in. Was it worth trying again? Social events added to the pressure. Friends and family gatherings were supposed to be relaxing, yet they became arenas of silence where I was the only one without applause. Watching others engage effortlessly was both inspiring and disheartening. It was a lonely place to be. Although surrounded by people, the connection was missing. I realized the issue wasn't just about being heard, it was about feeling valued and connected. It was about finding a way to break through the silence. One day, I stumbled upon a simple yet profound principle: active listening. It's a concept that seems obvious, yet it's often overlooked. The idea is to truly listen before speaking, not just hearing words, but understanding emotions and thoughts behind them. I first heard about this method from a podcast. The speaker talked about how active listening could transform interactions. It was like finding a key to a door I didn't know existed. It promised a way to connect, to be heard, and to make others feel heard too. The magic trick was to focus on others, rather than myself. It was about asking questions and showing genuine interest. It required patience, attention, and empathy. It wasn't about crafting the perfect message, but about creating a meaningful dialogue. I decided to give it a try, though skeptical at first. It was a subtle shift, but promised big changes. I began practicing this in small groups, feeling my way through the process. It was a new approach, and I hoped it would bridge the gap I'd been facing. Slowly, but surely, things started to change. The first time I noticed a difference was during a casual chat with a colleague. Instead of immediately sharing my thoughts, I asked more questions. I listened. For the first time, the conversation felt balanced. The shift was evident. The colleague responded with more enthusiasm. There was a spark in their eyes, a connection that had been missing before. It was a small victory, but it was profound. For the first time in a long time, I felt heard. This newfound technique began rippling through other areas of life too. At home, family dinners became more engaging. I found that by listening more, I was actually heard more. It seemed counterintuitive but worked like magic. The change was not overnight. It required consistent effort and practice, but the results were undeniable. Conversations became richer, relationships stronger, and most importantly, I no longer felt invisible. Practical tips for everyday use. Here are some practical tips you can use every day to get everyone's attention with this trick. First, make sure to maintain eye contact. Second, use open body language. Third, speak clearly and confidently. These tips will help you stand out and be noticed. Now, let's move on to the next chapter. Section 6. Real-life success stories. I remember a particular team meeting at work. I applied the active listening technique and noticed how it changed the dynamic. Colleagues began to open up more, sharing ideas they hadn't previously voiced. The meeting was not only more productive but also more inclusive. A friend once confided that they felt unheard in their relationship. I shared my experience with active listening. They tried it with their partner, focusing on listening more than speaking. Over time, their communication improved and so did their relationship. Another example was during a volunteer event. I was paired with someone I barely knew. Instead of the usual small talk, I focused on listening actively. What followed was a deep and genuine conversation that left us both feeling enriched. These real-life instances were not just about being heard, they were about forming connections and building trust. This method opened doors to understanding and empathy that I hadn't encountered before. Section 7. The steps to your own transformation. To start your own journey, embrace the mindset of a learner. Approach each interaction with curiosity. This change in perspective can transform how you engage with others. It will make you more aware and attentive. Begin with small changes. Practice active listening with friends or family first. Notice how it changes your interactions. Pay attention to how people respond when they feel genuinely heard. These small steps can lead to significant changes. Set goals for each interaction. Whether it's to learn something new or to make someone feel valued, having a goal can guide your conversations. This intentionality ensures that each interaction is purposeful and meaningful. Finally, be consistent. Like any new skill, practice is key. The more you practice active listening, the more natural it becomes. Over time, it will feel less like a technique and more like a way of life. Section 8. Maintaining the momentum. Once you start seeing the benefits, it's important to keep the momentum going. The key is to stay committed to the process. Regularly reflect on your interactions. What went well? What could improve? This self-reflection is crucial for growth. Engage in continuous learning. Read books or take courses on communication skills. There's always more to learn. Each new insight can add depth to your communication abilities and help you maintain your progress. Share your experiences. Talk to others about what you've learned. Teaching is one of the best ways to reinforce your knowledge. Plus, it can inspire others to embark on their own communication journey. Lastly, celebrate your successes. Recognize the progress you've made, no matter how small. Each improvement is a step towards more fulfilling and meaningful interactions. Section 9. A final note of encouragement. The journey to being heard starts with listening. It's a paradox, yet it holds the key to connection and understanding. By shifting focus away from ourselves and truly engaging with others, we unlock the potential for deeper relationships. Remember, every conversation is an opportunity to learn, to connect, and to grow. Embrace this mindset and the possibilities are endless. Your voice matters, and with the right approach, it will be heard. This transformation won't happen overnight, but it will happen. With patience and persistence, you can break through the silence. You can step out of the shadows and into the spotlight of your own life. So take the first step. Listen actively, speak thoughtfully, and watch as the world starts to listen back. It's time to turn the silence into a symphony and make your voice heard.